up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. We do have some big topics to discuss. Firstly, Barcelona have decided to sign a new goalkeeper in 2025. Both Deco and Flick have agreed upon this. They are now searching for the right candidate. But for now, Hansi Flick has decided to bet on Szczesny in goal ahead of Iñaki Peña after the international break. We'll discuss all the details around that. Also around the future of Frenkie De Jong. For Frenkie and Araujo, the club have given them an ultimatum. You have to renew your contract by the end of the season, or else in the summer we will be forced to sell you. Both Frenkie and Araujo know the situation. Is now down to the club to reach an agreement with them on the renewal, and also down for the players as well to show some eagerness and willingness to renew their contract. We have some big injury updates as well on Olmo, Fermin, Araujo, Gavi, and finally an update on Andreas Christensen. And finally, the craziest news around Barcelona has been the fact that there has been some fights at the Camp Nou building site via, of course, the Espai Barca project. Around 20 employees got into a brawl, and there is video footage of it. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get to this video is sponsored by OneMix. OneMix is a new upcoming sneaker brand that has some of the best designs I have seen from a sneaker company in a long time. First of all, their box is stunning. The shoes are fantastic. Comes with specific socks as well that you can wear with these shoes. The comfortability, mobility, endurance of the shoe is top notch. It's basically like a high level shoe for affordable price. It is ridiculous, and you look fantastic wearing it as well. On their website, they have a variety of different options, designs, different kind of sneakers and shoes as well that you can pick from. All free shipping as well, so make sure you click the top link in the description down below and check out OneMix today. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past 48 hours. The first news we're going to discuss is a big one. It's in regards to the goalkeeping position, with Mikel Rico coming out saying there will be a new goalkeeper signing, whether it be in January or in the summer. The decision has already been made. Flick and Deco both agree on this. So a new goalkeeper will be signed, probably to overtake Ter Stegen, but to be probably in competition / number 2 heading into the 2025-2026 season, which will tell you, of course, the level of what kind of goalkeeper we're gonna sign. We haven't been linked with anyone per se post this decision. We have gotten a quote coming in from Marcin Bulka, who is the Nice goalkeeper, Polish as well. He did have a trial with Barcelona, I believe, back in 2010, where in the end we ended up not signing him, but now he's been heavily linked with Barcelona. He was doing an interview, he was asked about the interest, and he said that, as they say in every rumor, there is a hint of truth when it comes to transfer issues. I prefer my agent to speak. I'm here to be in shape every week and give arguments for the clubs to be interested. It's definitely, of course, a compliment. So saying there's a bit of maybe truth in the Barcelona lanes, but nothing, outrageous per se. Now the question is, who will Barcelona be fully pursuing, and also when? I doubt we do it in January, because then what was the point of signing Szczesny? I think Szczesny really is supposed to be that kind of short-term fix for a year. That way you can really analyze the market, analyze who you want to sign, analyze what to do with Ter Stegen as well, because Ter Stegen, poor guy, he's been injured for about a month. We're getting linked with goalkeepers left, right, etc. We've already signed a goalkeeper as well, so he's probably feeling like hell, but this is, Barcelona, so game is game, as those might say. So we'll wait and see what happens, but it's quite clear now that Barcelona have made it one of their priorities in the next few transfer windows to sign a new goalkeeper. Now, staying on the topic of the goalkeeper position, there's always been a big question post-international break. Who will Flick select to be the goalkeeper? Will it be the current Iñaki Peña, or will it be the new signing in Wojciech Szczesny? Mikel Rico has come out saying that Hansi Flick's idea is to replace Peña with Szczesny as soon as he is fit to participate. This is absolutely music to my ears, and I've been saying very consistently over the past 2 weeks, if Szczesny is to play, he needs to play immediately after the international break. You cannot chuck him into his first game in 4 months post-retirement against Bayern Munich or against Real Madrid in the derby either, and I would maybe even say not even against Espanyol. You have to bring him in against Sevilla. It's a good game where the competition is strong, but we should be fine enough to get the result, especially being at home, get that feeling back, and then of course start against Bayern, Madrid, Espanyol, so on and so forth. You cannot chuck him into those big games as his first game back. It's so risky. So I believe whoever starts between Szczesny and Peña in goal for Sevilla will probably start until the next international break, if I'm being honest, unless one of them makes a catastrophic error consistently, then maybe there could be a change. But Flick betting on Szczesny for me is huge, but also a big shot in the face to Iñaki Peña, because look, Iñaki, he's had 2 chances now at the Real. I've seen so many keepers over the past 15 years not even get a sniff at the #1 spot, whether it was Victor Valdez, BRAWL, Ter Stegen getting his time. He's had so many chances to really, announce himself as a goalkeeper at #1, and he's failed on both occasions, last season and this season. But of course, last season was way worse. This season he hasn't been the greatest, if we're being honest. On those, of course, he kept 3 out of 4 clean sheets, but from the shots and from the conversions, it was piss poor from Iñaki. I think bringing in Szczesny is the correct decision. So wait and see how things turn out. Also wait and see what happens in the cup as well. The Super Cup, Copa del Rey. Will Flick change the goalkeeper? Will he keep Szczesny consistent throughout the whole year? Will Iñaki Peña play the Super Cup and Copa del Rey? That's going to be some big questions as well. That'll probably be later on in January. So wait and see how things will turn out. But right now, apparently, according to reports, Flick's bet is to put Szczesny in goal after the international break. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. The first update that we do have is on the contract renewal of Frenkie De Jong. Yet again, the main theme of this video, Miguel Rico of Relivos come out saying that Frenkie De Jong will be placed on the transfer list next year if he does not agree to renew his contract, which of course is standard. He's going to be entering this summer with 1 year left on his deal, so that's when you sell or you bust. To be honest, we should have sold him last summer if we got an answer then, but the club kind of want to wait another year because they really believe that Frenkie De Jong will end up renewing. I think it will come down a lot to Frenkie De Jong's performances. How well will he play in the team? Is he a regular starter? Will he be on the bench? Because again, that midfield is quite stocked up. Christensen, Casado, Pedri, Frenkie, Gavi, Olmo, Fermin, Lopez. There's not much room for, especially, box-to-box / deep-lying midfielders. So we're really interested to see if he starts or not. Of course, he is the 3rd captain of the club as well. It's a bit annoying that he's not, answered any of the club's renewals, but we'll wait and see if things do change in the next few months. I believe by February, we should be getting a good answer on Frenkie's future, because we're going to be entering the summer. The club are probably going to have to, let him go if he has not renewed. Probably looking at around 50 million euros for Frenkie. I think that's a fair price for him with 1 year left on his deal as well. We're taking a big loss from the investment that we did make, of course, in 2019 of 80 million euros in total. So we'll wait and see how things will turn out, but it's quite clear now Frenkie has from now until the summer to renew, or else the club will probably have to put him on the market and probably end up selling him. The next and final contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Ronald Araujo, who is very much in a similar situation to Frenkie De Jong. He has to renew his contract by the summer, or else the club will be forced to sell him, since he will be entering, of course, the final year of his deal this summer. Now, with him, of course, being close to recovering from his injury, he's doing some, interviews and doing some media with Barca 1, and he said during this Barca 1 interview, "It is a dream to be at this club. I've been here for 5 years, and I hope I'll be here for many more to come." It's been a very regular theme from both Frenkie and Araujo saying they want to stay here for a long time. They're very committed to the club, but, ignoring renewal offers from February, gives a different perspective to the fans, I would say. Of course, the second and third captain respectively, Araujo will be the captain the whole entire year. So if we win the trebles and we win the league, Champions League, Copa del Rey, Super Cup, he will be the one on the podium lifting it for the club. And him saying this but then not answering renewals, I don't know, it is a bit of an interesting situation. So again, it's a lot based on, we'll have to wait and see what the club do. Will they push for it? Will Araujo finally listen? Will he, once he gets back into the team and starts playing more, will he be more happy to renew? I remember when we renewed Araujo's contract last time, it was around February, March time. I think we reached an agreement in the beginning of February, somewhere around then. Then he renewed, officially and stuff like beginning of March or something like that. So I'm expecting, a very similar timeline. Of course, during that time, we're going to be in the knockout stages of the Champions League. La Liga will be about, 60% of the way through. Copa del Rey will be probably in the semifinals if, of course, we end up reaching there. Super Cup will be done as well. So you probably get a good, 60% of the season pretty much done by March, because of course the trophies are always so advanced at that point. So maybe both him and Frenkie are waiting until then. I'm not quite too sure, but I think it's very important that we have a 1,000,000,000% answer before June. Stay or leave. Now, a player who isn't slacking and has, of course, reached an agreement with Barcelona over a contract renewal is Fermin Lopez. Mundo Deportivo are saying that Barcelona are close to extending Fermin Lopez's contract. His new contract will expire in 2029, and the club considers him an important player for the medium and long term of the club. Of course, I told you guys a month ago that the agreement was reached fully. I believe it was Miguel Rico as well who leaked the news, but Barcelona waited to return to the 1-1 rule to make it official and sign the contract. But there is apparently a full verbal agreement between Barcelona and Fermin Lopez to renew his contract. Of course, he renewed his contract a year ago, and now he's getting a new contract a year later, which shows how strong and how well his progression has been. Of course, fully deserved as well. So we'll see when that news becomes official, but no doubt that Barcelona and Fermin Lopez have reached a verbal agreement on a new contract for him that hopefully will be set to be signed once Barcelona do return to the 1-1 rule. Let's then discuss some of the injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. Firstly, on Frenkie De Jong. Of course, we know that Frenkie De Jong fully fit, ready to go, got the medical green light, played of course against Young Boys and Alaves before the international break. But where Frenkie is at fitness-wise is still a question, but the manager of the Dutch national team and Ronald, former manager of Barcelona as well, who's very close to Frenkie De Jong, was doing some press for Netherlands games and the Nations League ahead of the international break, and he was asked on Frenkie De Jong's future and fitness, and he said that I spoke with Frenkie on the phone last week. With all due respect, he's still too far away at the moment. He has played very little, which he has found quite scary and tough. Frenkie still needs to get into rhythm and become 100% fit. So he's basically saying that right now Frenkie De Jong is still not 100% fit. He is fit, but he's not at 100% quite yet, which is again a good perspective for Barcelona. We probably won't see him start against Sevilla or Bayern. Maybe if Flick is feeling really risky and ballsy, he might start him in the Clasico, but we're seeing that Frenkie De Jong is fit, but not at 100% match rhythm and match sharpness quite yet, which of course will take time for him. He's been out from April until October, so it's been quite some time for him, but again, hopefully, slowly but surely, he will get back to the Frenkie that we all know that he is at the highest level. Next injury update is on Ronald Araujo. Some strong reports coming in from Frank Corras, of course, back in the report that I mentioned in the last video from Javi Miguel about the return time of Araujo. He came out saying that Hansi Flick has been very closely watching Araujo's recovery progress and considers him to be a very important player for the team. He praised his character, influence, and how much he can contribute to the team because of his ability and physicality as well, and his return is now expected around December. In fact, it could even come before that, around late November. Of course, Javi Miguel in the last video said that he'll come back around late November. Frank was saying late November, beginning of December-ish. We will definitely see him before the end of the year, play a couple of games, which of course is a positive. He should be going into the Christmas break fully fit, ready to go ahead of January, where you have again Super Cup, Copa del Rey, Champions League, La Liga. You have all 4 competitions on that month, all in key phases as well. So having our captain back then will of course be very, very important. Next injury update is on Dani Olmo. More confirmation again. Javi Miguel came out saying that Fermin Lopez and Dani Olmo will return against Sevilla. Again, they probably won't start the game, but definitely will be in the squad list. Has been confirmed now multiple times before the international break, during, and probably leading up to the game against Sevilla as well. Olmo and Fermin expected to be fit and get the green light. Next injury update is on Gavi. Now, Sport have come out saying there have been times in training when Gavi needed to be stopped. He's like a bull, is what sources within the club are suggesting. He's also a lot more muscular and stronger now after his intense workouts during his time off. In training, Gavi played alongside Frenkie in a double pivot, but further up ahead and in front, and he's done a lot more damage comparatively. So Frenkie and apparently Gavi playing a double pivot, I don't know if that will work, to be honest, because I think Gavi still plays way more in those advanced positions, but with, you know, the likes of Pedri and Dani Olmo probably playing in the 10, you're probably going to have to rob Gavi a bit deeper. So him playing in that role for me, of course, is massive, and again, he's doing very, very well in training. He's also expected to get the medical green light ahead of the match against Sevilla, but again, we won't rush to conclusions there too much. Now, of course, Gavi's been out for a year, and since he got injured on international duty, FIFA do owe Barcelona a lot of money. Mundo Deportivo came out saying that upon Gavi's return, Barcelona will receive a compensation fee for his injury, which he suffered with the Spanish national team. The club will be compensated 20,548 euros each day that he misses. If Gavi's medical green light arrives on October 19th, of course the day before the Sevilla game, the club will receive a total of 6.3 million euros for his compensation, which of course will cover the training, the rehabilitation that needed to him, of course, to recover, plus a little baby pocket change for Barcelona as well. So again, I mean, that's the smallest bright light in a very, very typical situation that we will be compensated for that, but I'd rather have Gavi and they can keep the money, of course, for a whole season, especially last season when we kind of needed him a lot during that time. But again, he will be back very soon, and hopefully he'll come back to the Gavi that he left with us, and that's, of course, a strong and composed midfielder that was the engine and heart of Barcelona. Now, the final injury update, a very positive one, and finally getting one as well, is on Andreas Christensen. We've had no updates on his injury since it was officially announced of his injury at the start of the season. I even mentioned in the last video as well. Hopefully we'll get a Christensen update soon. Next video, here we are. Gabriel Sanz of Mundo Deportivo came out saying the club is silent about the return of Christensen, who's always been expected to return after this international break. They don't want to speculate anything until they're fully convinced that he'll be able to play. So he's supposed to be back now, is what Gabriel Sanz is saying. I don't think he will be. There's been no footage of him in training whatsoever, arriving to the Ciudad Deportiva Joan Gamper. There's been nothing whatsoever. So I'm expecting Christensen, worst case scenario, probably back before the next international break, if not after the next international break. So we're talking, what, mid-November, somewhere around there, which I think we expected at the time, 1 to 2 months off injured for him, but no clear updates about him. We're not seeing any images or footage of him in training, at least with Frenkie. If you know, a month beforehand, we saw leaks of him in the training sessions, but with Christensen, there's been absolutely nothing. And to be honest, with Fermin, Olmo, Gavi, and Frenkie coming back, we don't really need him per se, until of course he's fully healthy, ready to go. There's no need to rush him and push him to come back as quickly as possible like we did last season. So wait and see with Christensen. Again, definitely coming back in November, will not be back in October, but when in November is a big question mark. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past 48 hours. First up, we do have some updates around Hansi Flick's training sessions. Rosalero Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Hansi Flick's physical training is so intense that some players have already opted to let go of their personal trainers since his arrival. This shift comes alongside the introduction of the French trainer Julio Toulouse, Pepe Koundé, Rafa Mandalando, and also Jermaine Fernandez as well. Flick and his staff believe that the players should give their all during the planned training sessions and use their time at home to rest and recover, which is equally important for them to perform at their best during matches. Now, of course, that makes sense, but I'm sitting here reading this thinking, Koundé does the training, then does training afterwards, and then does training by himself the next day after games. He does training sessions. So I guess it's not really, I guess Flick is not really telling them to stop per se, but he's recommending that it's best to, you know, use the time off to fully recover. Because again, like if you go to the gym, like, you know, you and I probably do every day to stay fit or whatever, if you do it too much, you're gonna get sore, your body's gonna get aching, then your performance in the gym is gonna, you know, deteriorate. So, you know, one rest day is always positive, especially for athletes like this, training high intensity for 2 hours every day, and then of course having a full intensity 90-minute match as well, the prep beforehand, the post-match prep as well. Your body needs the time to rest, and that's why Flick makes the training session so intense. That way afterwards they can use that time to recover. So again, all this jibber jabber I've heard a million times. All I want to see, of course, is results on the pitch, but so far we are seeing, and hopefully it may continue during this next spell before the November international break. Now, in some other news, we do have some updates in regards to where the sponsorships are coming in from Barcelona and where we currently sit at as well with BLM, Barca Studios, in those levers that, of course, that the club tried to sell from 2021. Now, Franco Rasa Sport came out saying that back in 2021, the club's member approved the sale, 49 said, of Bridgeburg for 200 million euros to Opus Media and Sochies. They received 10 million for each partners at that time to set up the payment schedule, 60 million in 2023, 60 million in 2024, and 60 million in 2025. In December 2023, Opus and Socios said they couldn't keep paying, so Barcelona had to look for a new partner. They got 20 million euros from Vestiga and also expected, of course, 40 million euros from Liberal Finance to cover the 2023 payment, but the Liberal money never arrived. This past summer, Barcelona found a new partner, and Amarak paid 25 million of the 40 million euros owed by Liberal. Meanwhile, Barcelona bought back part of the shares from Opus Media, raising their own ownership of Bridgeburg to 53.5 million euros from that 49% initially, with only receiving 55 million euros right now of the 200 million euros. A 12 million profit in regular businesses was turning to a net loss of 91 million euros. For a solution, Barcelona believe that Amarak's involvement will attract new investors, and Barcelona say that these new investors will join by the end of 2024, and the money for these new investors, which has already been accounted for, will help Barcelona comply with La Liga's financial rules. So you have to look at this from a bigger picture. Not only does Laporta had to find investors. Sometimes those investors come in, agree, and then freaking flop on him, which again makes the job even more harder, because you're thinking, okay, I've sorted this out, let's now work on something else. Oh, by the way, over here they kind of dropped out last second. Like this payment plan with Opus Media and Socios, 60 million for each year, would have been perfect and very ideal. But once they drop out, you have to find a new investor. Then that new investor also drops out as well. It is, very difficult for Laporta to handle all this. He, of course, Laporta is running the role of, after, Ferran Oliveira left as CEO, he's now running the role of CEO alongside his role as the president as well. So it's tough work, not easy, but he's trying his best, of course, to make it work. And right now he's bringing it at a point now where the club is now getting healthier and healthier by every single passing day. Now on, La Liga's financial rules, there is of course a positive side where Fran Carrasco mentioned that Barcelona won't face any issues in keeping Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, the two players they signed in the summer, registered for La Liga. After December 31st, the club are counting on new sources of income before the end of the year. One option is the entry of new investors in Bridgeburg, who will cover the shares of the investment that was supposed to be covered by previous investors. Another option, of course, is to renew their contract with Nike sponsorship deal, which is close to being finalized. It could be made official in the coming week. So again, movements need to be made for Barcelona to worry about registration-wise for Pau Victor, Dani Olmo, maybe new signings in January as well, which hopefully will all be sorted out by the end of the year. Now, on the topic of money, we do have some updates as well on Barcelona's deferred payment plans from COVID, and Barcelona are still paying players from the deferred payments from COVID, but now we're entering the final structure and the final payment for those salaries. Franco Sport came out saying that while Frenkie De Jong, Ter Stegen, Piqué, Lenglet extended their contracts with higher payment schedules for the later years to help the club during the pandemic, other players including Leo Messi, Jordi Alba, and Sergio Busquets agreed to a payment plan to defer their amounts, which the final payment is due now in 2025. These debts don't impact the club's current budget because they were accounted for back in the 2020-2021 season, but they do affect the club's cash flow as the money still has to be paid out. So the final year for deferred payments for Busquets, Jordi Alba, and Messi from COVID will be happening 2025. Again, FFP-wise, it will not affect us, but it will affect us, pocket-wise in regards to cash flow, because we do have to give these money upfront to the players in which they are rightfully owed. So, when we get the money from the sponsorships, maybe money from Gavi's FIFA payment, all these type of fees are going to be needed to, of course, pay off these players once and for all. Again, they helped the club by deferring it for a long time. Remember, Busquets and Jordi Alba was all, 2021 happening. Now it's 2025, 4 years later, finally getting the payment of their last contract. Of course, Busquets and Jordi Alba, they did leave a year or 2 years early. I believe Busquets a year early, Jordi Alba 2 years early, respectively. They did give up the last years of their contract, but before that, they were still owed money, of course, still from the deferred payments from COVID. Same with, of course, Leo Messi. He was at PSG. Messi, won the Copa del Rey, won the World Cup, dominated league, went to MLS, brought into Miami from 15th to first place to win the Shield. And to this day, he's not been paid off fully by Barcelona. So it just shows how much deferred payments that these players agreed upon, of course, to help Barcelona. But again, the final payment will be happening, of course, next year. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss for the end of this video is, of course, in regards to the Espai Barca project. Of course, our return to the beautiful home of Spotify Camp Nou. Originally, the plan was to come by the end of this year, but very unlikely. We're looking at early 2025 now, but the problem right now is not delays. It's, of course, bringing in workers to work at the Camp Nou to make this, process as quickly and effectively as possible. Of course, the club did tweet 2 days ago that they've now installed the first, new seats at the Camp Nou, which is good. There's been more fights. I mean, we heard about this a few months ago, how there was a couple of the workers that are fighting each other that kind of blew over, but apparently a few nights ago, there was a massive fight. According to local reports in the media, there's been a fight between workers at the Spotify Camp Nou 2 days ago, with reports indicating that around 20 individuals were attacked with sticks around 2:30 p.m. At least 6 suffered minor injuries. The manager intervened and kicked them all out. The fight involved Romanian and Albanian workers. Now, their ethnicity I don't really care about. The issue, of course, now is that when you kick out 20, you need to bring 20 new ones in, and that's where the problem comes in. Also, you can see there on the right-hand side, ESPN are reporting that Barcelona have to postpone the return to the Camp Nou. They will not be returning this year, but most likely the beginning of 2025. Again, like I mentioned a trillion times on the channel, I will say it again. I expect Barcelona to be back at the Camp Nou end of January, beginning of February of 2025. We will definitely be there before the first knockout game in the Champions League. That is for certain. Of course, our contract with the Montjuic, I believe, expires in March, so we have to be back in the Camp Nou before March. I think March the 1st it expires, so we gotta be back before then. So that's gonna be very, very important. You're probably wondering, with the fight, you probably want to see it on video. Well, guess what? There is video of it. Look at this! Oh my God! Build the stadium, you twats! What? When I saw the report, I'm thinking, oh, I'd love to see the video of like this massive brawl, and then a few hours later, the brawl leaks. I mean, look at this. I could not believe. Look at this. What are they doing? What are they fighting about? Just build the stadium, then piss off. This is why we have. This is not the main reason, but partial reasons why we have delays is with the workers. They're fighting. Not enough of them. They're lazy. Blah blah blah. Look at this. It's like a 20. You can tell this video is being taken from one of the apartments around the, or one of the buildings around the Camp Nou. But my God, what is going on? That is hilarious, but also a bit frightening from a Barcelona fan point of view, because I want to go back to the Camp Nou ASAP. But this stuff's taking so long because this random stuff happens. But hopefully the club and also Amarak sorted out in regards to who's running the construction of the Camp Nou. Again, they've all set a deadline, so that deadline it reaches and they don't the Camp Nou isn't ready. They have to pay a fine of €1 million every single day, so they want to get this done as soon as possible, as much as Barcelona want to get it done. But now it's just a waiting game at this point. Hopefully by the end of the year, before Christmas, we have like good images, good video of the Camp Nou really being like well structured and almost done. That way in the new year, first month and a half or so, you can get it all sorted out and we can get the team back in our stadium. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well, let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss. The main thing I want firstly, of course, is your thoughts on the future of Frenkie De Jong and Ronald Araujo. Second, your thoughts on Flick deciding to bet on Szczesny in goal ahead of Iñaki Peña, and finally your thoughts on those brawls at the Spy Barca project at the Camp Nou. Are you worried about this? Is it a concern? Do you think this will blow over very soon? Leave me all your thoughts down below, and of course make sure you guys subscribe down below as well if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca.
Yeah.